Okay, fine. I'll be the one to say this. I feel like everyone is going to blindly praise this game because it is so different from Game Freak's very safe formula of getting like 8 badges, becoming champion, which is fair. I understand. Of course, voices with a larger platform are just gonna go around saying that this is the best thing ever. And I spent what, like 100 hours in Legends Arceus, whatever they said. Arceus. Actually, no, they said Arceus. Whatever. I was gonna get this video out before everyone started doing that, but I'm already late on that. But I'm noticing a lot of these videos speak as people who hate the traditional aspects of Pokemon, and they're finally glad to see all of it go. Not even just some of the good things, all of it. No, completely ground up. Make it an MMO, make it open world. And I'm someone to speak about Legends Arceus as someone who actually does like some of the traditional aspects of Pokemon. And I even welcome the new things like Megas and Z moves, except for Dynamax. I hate Dynamax. And with normal Pokemon, it's an already simple monster raising turn-based RPG. I think it's what it's best known for and most successful at it too. It's why we're even getting this kind of game in the first place. They're trying to reinvent themselves and make a spin-off where they kind of go against these things. Like, when I say these things, I mean like strategizing move sets, team building, learning what moves do, finding new Pokemon, etc. Like, those aspects of the formula, I don't think should really change, you know? I understand anyone tired of the main game formula of like becoming champion, like I said, and getting 8 badges, and it's just so repetitive. I get it. And gee, it's like we need some kind of story that isn't revolved around the box legendary, and doing that. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Coliseum 1 and 2, and Sun and Moon before they make the Pokemon League, because then it just devolves into being the rest of them. So I'm not blind to the quality of games either. My favorite was Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. That was like peak everything we've known about Pokemon being expanded upon. They a whole new line of like 100 or so Pokemon. It was like all of those games plus. And in terms of breaking the formula, I was into the original ideal of Sun and Moon because this was a region that had its own way of doing things. They had island trials, they had kahunas, they had like totem Pokemon that you had to deal with. So that felt like a kind of a breath of fresh air, but just then at the end, when it became about having a Pokemon League and becoming champion, that's when it all kind of like went backwards on itself. And I did buy Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon on a whim, only because I wanted like the updated features, because it still showed, Game Freak still showed that they had a problem with just releasing 2 versions of everything, and then like a year later releasing a 3rd version of that thing with more stuff. It's like you're literally just milking people right now. Just put out the definitive version first. That's all you need to do. Like, I kind of don't want to buy the same game twice. You're right, people. Sometimes you're right. But I definitely skipped out on all the Switch games, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Sword and Shield, and Brilliant Diamond, Diamond Pearl, because I could tell by the look of them, they were not made with advancing the series in mind. Let's Go is just Gen 1 again, and it's trying to rope in all the people from Pokemon Go. And Sword and Shield, they already messed up when they said we can't have all the Pokemon in the game. We can't do this, we can't do that. It's just a game called We Can't Do That. I'm sorry. Brilliant Diamond, Diamond Pearl is kind of the same thing. It doesn't even let you have like everything Pokemon has to offer in terms of like how many Pokemon are in the game. There's no returning mechanics from modern Pokemon. Like, it's not enough. It wasn't enough for me. So I can see Legends Arceus being like, wow, this is the best thing ever to some people who probably didn't like the Pokemon formula to begin with. So it could be literally anything, and I think people would like it. So gonna let you know right now, This isn't going to be a video just bashing Pokemon Legends Arceus. Just some things I need to get off my chest because these are things worth getting into. Just a few things that bothered me about the game, and maybe a little bit of a counterpoint about how this should set the precedent for all future Pokemon games going, that everyone seems to think should be happening after this. To address the Dawn fan in the room here, visually speaking, it's not really worth going into. The lower poly cell shading could have stopped the blocky visuals. There's a lot of artifacting on the textures, repeating textures. Repeating water. We all knew this. Patterns on some of the characters' clothes are very blocky and flat looking. Cause looking at Professor Rowan or not Professor Rowan, like his ancestor or whatever, and his like the designs on his clothes are like very stretched out and artifacty. It's just like even getting close up to her character, or no, even further away from a character, it looks bad. Like you look at things from a distance, they usually look good. You look at things close up, that's when you start to see some stuff. But like even farther away from stuff, I was noticing how bad the game looked. And I even had a time where I was walking and I noticed a rock de-rendered behind me. And I was like, are you serious? I'm not even that far away from it. Are you kidding me? But I think this is definitely a Game Freak thing. Maybe they didn't have the resources or the experience doing this kind of thing. They usually, for some of their other games, they've been outsourcing it. They've been outsourcing games to other companies. Like, they had the other company who did BDSP. A different company did new Pokemon Snap. Different company did Pokemon Battle Revolution. So there you go. They've mostly been sticking to the handheld things and learning and making games based like with that engine. So this isn't really a surprise to me. And the game does maintain like a decent frame rate. The loading times are short. The fast travel is like pretty seamless. So is riding the switching between the riding Pokemon, and the sky is the nicest looking thing about this game, I'll say, but probably because it's the farthest thing away from the player. LOL. And the game has crashed on me twice. One time it was immediately after evolving Kirlia, and the other time it was because I exited a menu too fast before, and then doing an action. Like, I guess I backed out of the item menu and then threw a Pokeball and then went back into the menu and tried to evolve something. I don't know. I did that too fast and the game crashed there. I watched it happen on Super Mega when they were playing, and I'm noticing the Pokemon pathfinding is occasionally jank when, you throw your food at them and you're watching them go over to eat it so they get distracted and you can catch it. That happened to me while I was trying to catch a Togepi, so that was cool. And you know what? I have heard the argument that the environment is flat looking a lot of the time in every zone. And I think that's because climbing around isn't really the focus of the game. And there's not really a lot of nooks and crannies to find stuff in. Everything is just kind of out in the fields for you to see and get. There's nothing really hidden a lot of the time. Except for like maybe 2 of the things that involve other quests. But what are you going to do? Alright, now I'm going to actually get into some of the things that bothered me about this game. And it's not very long, but it's just like 5, 6 things. The biggest crime I feel that Legends Arceus has in regards to it being an open world, open zone kind of game is that there's no mini-map. How are you supposed to see where you're fucking going without checking the main map all the time, which is pressed on by the minus button? And on the map, the regular map, you can place icons, which are pointless because there's no mini map to see actually how close you are to getting to what you marked. It'd be like if in Breath of the Wild you place those glowing markers, which you can see in the distance on the main from just like looking out into the world, but you can place them on the map screen, but you can't see them in the overworld. Like, what's the point? And the fact that you click the stick to run, the left stick, and you press B to crouch is so ass backwards. And I'm thinking it might be a case of too many buttons, and they just didn't know, or maybe not enough buttons. They didn't know where to put the sprint button. It's in like every Pokemon game. It's usually B to sprint or run, and the speed is already decent enough to begin with. I don't know why we need a sprint button. But if anything, I would rather have it be on B instead of crouch. Like, in most games, it's usually stick to crouch. Even like most FPSs, it's crouch. You click the stick to crouch. Like, lots of times I'm just trying to run. I want to keep my stick clicked in so I can keep running, and it's really hard to like maintain that pressure and also move the stick up or down or in any direction. Like, why? And of course, you can't change the controls to how you want to play the damn game, which sucks. If they really cared about it that much, they might like let you do that in an update that lets you change the controls, but I don't think they do care. So, oh well with that, I guess. And oh my god, the menu structure sucks. In quests that are under the map for some reason, instead of in the main menu by pressing up. Also, the main menu is up on the D-pad? What? Why shouldn't it be plus? Why would I want my whole menu all the way in the bottom right? Or the bottom left? Like, why? It should be on the main menu. You should have your quests, then your inventory, then your key items in the save, and then maybe the Pokemon screen. Like, how did they mess that up? And clearly the menu is based on Breath of the Wild's menu. They're not even trying to hide it. And it was already simple enough. Like, the menu in that game is like pretty solid. It had like everything you needed there. Why did they try so hard to simplify even further to the point where they're removing shit that should be in there in the first place? Like the quests and the missions that you have to do later in the game. Like, whenever I was trying to pick a quest to track or check the status on to see if I'm like close to beating it, I keep forgetting where it is because I keep going over to the main menu and I'm like, wait, there's no quest here. This is where it's supposed to be. Oh, it's in the map. I have to go to the map and then press R and then press Y to like, just why? And you know what? The Pokédex should probably be in there too somewhere in the main menu. Like, I get it when you're out in the field and you're locked onto a Pokemon. You can press the down button on the D-pad to bring up like the Pokédex page for it to see what else you need to do. Everything should just be like in the same menu. And then on the overall, the D down should be something else. I don't know. I'm not really prepared to come up with a whole schematic for what the control should be, because like that would have to be. Yeah, I would have to reinvent the game pretty much. And regarding the controls in general, a lot of your actions are tied to ZR, ZL, L, and R to cycle through some stuff. So you're doing a lot of this. I was also thinking I don't like the plus sign button being the ride Pokemon, because that could easily be tied to one of the left and right D-pad buttons. And I hate that that's a cycle thing too you need for some reason. I was thinking, why doesn't it just be the item wheel from Skyward Sword? That was pretty good. And then once it's one button tied to a wheel from you that you pick from, it frees up those extra buttons that could be used for something else, you know? And it limits on inventory. Oh my god. Look, Game Freak, I'm sorry. Your game isn't big enough. Just let your player hold on to the shit they get. And in every area, you always have access to a big trunk anyway. So, like, it should be up to the players walking around with a ton of stuff taking the risk. Because the only way... What happens to you when you die or you faint or whatever is that you lose some of your items. Stuff that you don't want to lose, you can just put in the box. But I don't want it to be limited to what I pick up. That's stupid. And I feel like that's only there, that punishment is only there to tie into this weird passive multiplayer thing where if you, let's say you faint and you lose some of your items, those items get packaged into like a little thing that will appear in someone else's game for them to go pick up. And it's not even like in a normal Souls game. You can just go back to where you died and just pick it up. You like imagine if that happened in those kind of games, where if you lost your souls, you can't go back and get it yourself. You have to wait for someone else to get it for you. And then the other way that works in this game is if as you're picking up other people's satchels, you get merit points to use to buy some of the more rare items in the game. But why not just let those be another thing you can buy with the in-game money that you're getting from all doing all these research missions? Like, get rid of this merit point shit. Just let that be another thing you can buy. And speaking of things to use money for in this game, you use money to increase your inventory by 1 slot at a time, which definitely feels like a half-assed progression check, and it just feels like a goal that was shoehorned in. It doesn't really feel right. Like, this guy literally exists just so you can put money into an extra slot. Like, why even have the limit to begin with? Would that make it go too fast? What part of that is part of the design of, oh, we don't want the player to have too much stuff? Because then they wouldn't have to go back to their trunk and drop shit off all the time. Yeah, definitely love doing that whenever my inventory is full and the game tells me, thanks. And this is kind of a small nitpick, but when it comes early on in the game, you can cut your hair, right? You can get different styles. It still does that annoying Animal Crossing thing, if I remember correctly, where you have to pay for the haircut first before you see what your haircut is even going to look like. And it's not like you have to enter a questionnaire in Legends Arceus, but you have to pay up front, and then when you later on in the game you start to unlock new hairstyles. I was like, okay, I want to go see what the new hairstyles look like. What if I want to see what they look like first before I spend money? I might just like not pick anything, or even at least like, oh, they give you the money back when you don't want the haircut because the new options don't look good on you. Imagine, I was watching the former Nintendo Minute people, and they were making a point about that. Like, if that happened in real life, imagine paying for the haircut up front. You get there, you take the haircut, and it looks like shit. Like, why did I pay for it up front then? It's just annoying. Like, eventually, you're not even gonna switch up your haircut anymore anyway. So you just stick with the one look that you like on your character. So you're not gonna be doing that too often anyway, unless there's new hairstyles. And when it comes to clothes, customizing your character has always been a fun idea. Since usually you were, I guess before X and Y, we were all used to just the character looking the way they look. You never really got to customize your guy. And then applied to an action RPG like this, I'm surprised that they didn't like include any kind of stats or set bonuses to help you as a trainer on the field. Like, I hate there's this charm system, right? You can buy a charm and it'll give you a vague description of what it does, and sometimes it doesn't really help. But why not just have whatever those things do applied to the clothes as an incentive to like get sets for clothes? This is an action RPG where you could have like made a set that increases your stamina on the field, or your stealth, or your sprint speed, or whatever, and you should be able to switch clothes from the menu. Like, I hate that you have to go all the way back to town and then go and look at the mirror and then you can change your clothes from there. Like, it just be in the menu. Alright, this is kind of going back to the performance thing, but there's 2 quests tied to Spiritomb and Unknown, which I think could be better. The Spiritomb one is closer to like this game's version of collecting the Korok seeds. Except they contribute to like getting Spiritomb, obviously, but this is a game with kind of bad draw distance and like bad popping, and it wants you to find things in the distance that you can't even see sometimes unless you're really close up. It made scouting for them really hard. I mean, I did it anyway, but when I finally got the Bravery bird, and I'm flying around, like, I can't see shit. Everything is being de-rendered because it's far away, because this game's draw distance is terrible. I can't even see the the wisps that are in the ground, in the background, or anything. I eventually had to get a guide because I needed to know exactly where they were. And that was another problem with the map too. Is like I had to on a walkthrough, they'll show you the map instead of like you can't even just see where it is on the mini map. It's like, well, fuck. And I was gonna be really mad at first because I didn't know there was a way to track the progress with the Spiritomb quest. Apparently, if you go talk to the girl who gives you the quest, she tells you how many you have left in an area. I was thinking like, well, before I knew that, I was just getting the wisps, and then I wouldn't know like how many there are left in the area, which area they were. So I was like, well, how are you supposed to know this stuff? But yeah, you talk to the girl. There's an option for that. So I guess that's fine. It was still kind of a bitch to find them. I'll say that. And this isn't quite as bad regarding the unknown because there's at least a hint system and the unknown page in the Pokedex where it tells you where they might be or in the vicinity you should look. But as you're looking, the draw distance and pop-in can still be a problem. So that's just chalking it up to the performance and visuals of the game. Nothing else we can really do about that. The game's already here. But just a small nitpick I had. We'll try to complete that part of it. Okay, this is in regards to the noble battles. They're super cool. I do find it weird that you can sprint in this game, and these moments are the one time you can't sprint in the game when you should absolutely need to. And while working the health bar and you faint, it lets you continue from a tick mark on the boss's health bar, or you can start over for some reason. Why would they even ask you this? Like, the challenge is to work it down and win. So do you want players to prove they can do it in one go, or remove all nuance of the challenge by letting them continue wherever they want? It's too forgiving. It's like if in Kingdom Hearts you're fighting a really hard, or you're just fighting a boss in general, and you die after taking off 3 health bars. In the game was like, oh, do you want to continue from the 3 health bars, or do you want to start over? Like, what the hell is that shit? Why? Alright, so you heard my major peeves with the game. This section is more about all the good quality changes that I think I would like to see in a mainline Pokemon game after this. This game does establish a lot of quality of life stuff that I want to see put into future games. First of all the moves you can learn that a Pokemon has learned, whether it be move tutor attacks, there's no such as the egg moves, but if they were egg moves, it would all be accessible through the menu. You just go to the menu, pick the Pokemon, you go change moves, you see everything it has learned at level intervals or move tutor attacks or whatever. I'm so sick of farming for hard scales to use for the one character whose job it is to teach your Pokemon moves through hard scales, or in like the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or ORAS, like having to talk to move tutors that use battle points just to reteach a move. It's so pointless. I hate doing that. That is that thing has been outdated over time. So if this makes it into the next game, I would like that very much. And battles this time around do feel very active. I like that you can walk around throughout the battle, and it all flows very well. It's pretty seamless. Like, you just throw the Pokeball that you're going to use to battle with, and then the battle just starts, and the Pokemon don't initiate the battle, you do. That's cool. I like that you can walk around during it. You can stand in front of an attacks and maybe get killed, but you're fine. There's no trainer health during Pokemon battles, which is cool. And also, just finding wild Pokemon feels very organic. I missed out on this because I didn't play Sword and Shield. I know that the wild area is there, and it functions very close to this. I feel like Pokemon Legends is kind of an expanded feature of that, and they really refined the way they want you to feel like you're actually in the field catching Pokemon and hiding in the tall grass to capture them using berries. There's a lot of items you can abuse to get what you want, and including alphas. I think a lot of people just try to brute force it, but you could actually brute force catching a Pokemon, especially with the black Pokeballs, the heavy balls, and the what's it called, the Gigaton balls. You can sneak up behind one with the smoke bomb and throw food at it. They'll always turn around, I'm noticing, and that's when you just throw the heavy ball. And then you can maybe get like another one or two in before they notice and turn around and maybe attack you. But even after they get aggroed, you can use mud bombs and harass items, like the sticky bombs. And once you can actually switch off their aggro and just walk up behind them and throw the heavy ball. Like, that's how I got a lot of alpha Pokemon that way. But that's still something I had to do as a player, so that feels good. It doesn't feel quite broken at all. A lot of times, you don't really need to engage in battle unless it's maybe to see a move that a Pokemon uses, or maybe as you're filling out the criteria of a Pokédex, it does keep track of how many you defeated, and those count as points as like little tick marks on the Pokédex entry. So sometimes you do have to fight them in order to get the point for it. And the Pokédex in general is a lot more involved in a game like this. I like the additional criteria for filling the entries other than just catching them and registering them in the Pokédex. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, watch it use a move, watch it evolve, capture it, defeat it. There's some Pokemon that have missions or side quests attached to them, and that's cool. You get to see, like, for example, there's a Clefairy mission that involves you going to an area at midnight or on a full moon and watching the Clefairy dance. Like, that's cool. That is it shows the world of Pokemon in a better light than like previous games had. I'll give it that. However, with building the Pokédex, the end numbers for some of these things is fucking stupid. Oh yeah, watch Psyduck use Water Pulse 20 times. I'm not doing that. Defeat this Pokemon 40 times. No. There's a minimum to get these Pokemon registered, which is 10 points. And like I said, like capturing it, evolving it, those are maybe like 1 point or so. And you can watch it use a move like up to 6 times to get it like pretty filled out. But the minimum is enough to you actually do a lot of these things naturally without going out of your way to just spam Water Pulse at everything or some move that the Pokemon knows just to fill it out faster. And the way the Pokédex works in Legends Arceus, it does remind me, and a lot of people give this game shit. In fact, I know someone who has made a 7-hour video on why Pokemon ORAS sucks, not even talking about how like more involved the Pokédex actually was, because the mechanics for that one is beating one increases the research level, and the higher the level, the more you can start to find things like hidden IVs, hidden abilities, rare moves on the Pokemon. It's more of an incentive for actually using that function on the Pokédex in that game, and I like that more, because I hate for hidden ability Pokemon, you can only get that from the Dream World, and this was the first time that you can actually get them without having to do all of that shit. But yeah, in general, I would like to see a more involved Pokédex that actually makes you keep track of what you're doing with each Pokemon and spend time with them. That's cool. And this game does actually live up to the namesake phrase of gotta catch them all, and you literally have to catch them all in order to truly beat the game and get the true ending or whatever. Because in older games, that was always a thing you could do, but nobody actually did it, and the rewards for them weren't actually good. I want to say older games let you connect to like the Game Boy printer or something and print out the certificate that says you did it. In Gen 4 games like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Platinum, Diamond and Pearl, you would get this like banner screen that would flash for a few seconds saying, "Congratulations, you did it, hee." I didn't do it in Black and White, so I don't know. In X and Y, I didn't do it. In ORAS, I did do it because of how like useful the Pokédex, the Dex function was on like searching in a route. You could just it helped you find Pokemon easier. I don't remember the reward being that good there, but in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, if you get all the Pokemon, you get the Shiny Charm, which lets you find shiny Pokemon easier. Like, why don't they do more things like that? And the fact that this is a game where you can complete the Pokédex without having to trade, wait for stupid timed mystery events, or worry about like version exclusives. There's only one Pokemon Legends Arceus. And you know what? I agree with the anti-traditional stuff where I also am sick of the two version stuff. Just one definitive game with all the resources, all the move tutors, all the shit they were going to add in the third game should just be in this first version of the game. Maybe some choices within it would determine what things you encounter, but everybody has the same game. Like, why? There's no reason why we need to be buying the same game twice. Like, if they pull that shit again after Sword and Shield and their DLC, I would be upset. A lot of the Pokemon that require trading to be evolved is now replaced with just using that item you trade with them to evolve them, like as if it were a Thunderstone or Firestone or etc. Like, you just use the Protector on Rhyhorn and he evolves into Rhyperior. You don't have to trade it to some asshole. You don't have to trade it to yourself to trade it back to the game. It's all just pointless. Like, that's a good quality change right there. Did you even know that in ORAS or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you can't even use the global trade station anymore because people hacked the whole servers for those things? There's Adventure Snivy who uploaded a bunch of like hacked Pokemon. If you try to trade for it, then it would go back to your game. It would like ban you from the server forever. And you can't use the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon global trade thing because some guy named Japan.Kubuju or something also did the exact same thing, but except as you're scrolling through the list of Pokemon you want to trade for, the game just freezes. It doesn't even ban you. It becomes so... These people just flood the whole server with just fake Pokemon. So, you know what? No, I don't want to trade anymore. I don't want that online interaction because people like that will fuck it up. And I do get the original idea behind having two versions was that they wanted players to interact with each other. And this was before online play was a thing. But now it is, and we kind of don't need that anymore. So I would prefer it if a game just had every Pokemon to begin with, no exclusives, and it's up to the player to find them all. Like, that would be a much better idea. And in terms of these new variants and new branching evolutions, I think this is a good idea considering we all know Pokemon is, the numbers wise, is getting up there. There's a lot of Pokemon now. They made like another 100 more. I mean, I would welcome it because I love seeing new Pokemon designs. Even Sword and Shield, I didn't want to get that game, but I was down to see more new Pokemon. Fuck it. But I think new variants and new evolutions is a good idea. But another small nitpick is that this is set in the past, so these new Pokemon won't even be relevant in the future unless they find a way for the next mainline game to connect with this one, so you can transfer your Lacy Lacemaker as Zoroark to the new game. And region variants and evolutions is a cool way to get new Pokemon and also not have to make a whole new 100 for a region. You know, it's just like small updates here and there for all the already existing Pokemon. I think that's kind of the best bet, to be honest. And then for whatever the next game is, they focus on like refining the gameplay, making it good, and making like the story good or unique or whatever they need to do to break the formula. They can focus on that more. Alright, so this section is the really heinous shit that I don't want to see carry over into even the next game, Pokemon Legends, or the next mainline game. Using a move 20 times to evolve a Pokemon is fucking ridiculous. And I'm referring to things like Overquill and Weirdeer. They have new evolutions, cool. I don't want to use a wave crash 20 times. And the thing with Bascule Legion is that you have to take recoil a total of 300 damage in recoil. You have to do it without fainting. I think it keeps track of it as long as you don't die. But if you do, and you faint from using like double edge or whatever, you have to start over again. Like, ugh. Some of these new methods are fucking whack as hell. Another big problem I have is if these things carried over into a mainline game is that stats aren't really unique in this. There's no IVs, effort values are just kind of uniform. So are offense and defense changes in battle. Like if there's bulk up, which increases your attack and defense, but special attack and special defense are just kind of uniform. Like every move operates like cosmic power and calm mind. It reduces the depth, actually, in my opinion. And there's no abilities. There's no natures. There's no uniqueness to the Pokemon anymore in this game. I mean, it's fine for a spin-off, but I'm still hearing a lot of people saying everything in this game should carry over into the next one. Like, no, I don't agree with that. I saw this one dude's thumbnail of oh yeah, the Pokemon Legend Arceus finally removed the one awful thing about Pokemon, which is stats. Saying, what are these people trying to say? Like, I really don't like hearing people say unique stats need to be out of games. Like, okay, I'm sorry, you don't like depth? Fuck you. I will say that once more people started becoming aware of these like hidden stats, Game Freak started to incorporate ways for us to like have control over it. Because we all knew EV training was a thing. You have to go to the fucking forest and fight 77 Pidgeot or 77 Zubats to get your speed up. That stopped with X and Y, whereas you just play a little mini game to do effort value training, and that was fine. But now having replayed ORAS recently, I could definitely see that people don't want to even do that anymore either. Like, okay, just let us allocate the stats once we get a Pokemon. And in terms of perfect IVs, they did give us a way for us to get that without hatching for 6 IV Pokemon eggs. In Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you can farm for bottle caps by playing the battle tree. I think the problem is there's so few ways to get bottle caps. There's so few ways to do that in that game. I think that put a lot of people off too. But there was a way you could manually put perfect IVs on your Pokemon without doing all that egg hatching shit. As long as they just thought of more ways to keep that stuff in and then carry that over to new Pokemon games, I think people would be into it more if it were more accessible. That was a problem. Like, everyone just thought, like, oh, I don't get this whole math shit. I don't want to calculate how many points I need in speed or attack or special defense or HP. Okay, I get it. But when they made efforts to make it accessible, everyone just ignored it. Like, well, fuck you then. And I think the amount of versatility a Pokemon can have investing in offense points or defense points or whatever, given their base stats and their nature, is interesting and fun. That there was a meta game to that. You could have a defensive Ferrothorn or a tanky offensive Ferrothorn. There was you could have a special Lucario or a physical Lucario if you just allocated the stats right. I think that's cool. But in this game, all of those things are gone. The uniqueness of the Pokemon you find is just kind of gone. I mean, I forgot that there are natures in the game, but they don't matter really. Why do people want Pokemon to be all the same stat-wise? I don't get that. I really don't. And there's no abilities. Abilities were awesome. They added an edge to Pokemon, for sure. And they were introduced in Gen 3. They're still carrying over to this day. They're just not in this spin-off game. But I'm hearing even people say that should carry over in the next Pokemon game. No hidden IVs, no natures, no abilities, no nothing. It's just, what are we even doing here then? Taking that stuff out removes the metagame of, creating a Pokemon team that was fun. I don't understand you guys. And I feel like someone's gonna tell me, well, if you like stats so much, why don't you just play a battle sim like Pokemon Showdown? It's like, well, I still like being in the world of a Pokemon game and then still strategizing and planning out like a Pokemon stat build and movesets and all this stuff. And I like playing against the AI too, even if I still hate the Battle Tower and the Battle Mason. They'll never give us back Battle Frontier, but like this is the only thing I have left pretty much. Like I like playing against the AI, seeing how many battles I can win in a row. I like that aspect of Pokemon. I don't really play competitively, but I still like creating teams and brainstorming like movesets and stuff. Like, why do we don't want? I don't want that to be gone from Pokemon. I would be fucking sad if that were gone. And having said that, the point of raising and battling in this game is kind of lost, considering it's not the focus. And yeah, you can construct a moveset and use all the effort items to increase their stats, but it doesn't lead up to anything. Team building is such a staple in like standard Pokemon. I don't get so much satisfaction building a competitive team. I get satisfaction out of building like viable sets and using it against the AI, like I said. But when you take out, this game doesn't have gyms or battle facilities or PvP or anything. There's kind of no point. Like throughout the course of the game, trainer battles feel very empty and random. You come down here from the future and you're trying to help the research team do stuff, and these guys just want to test you and battle you at every turn when it's like not called for at all. They don't know who you are or what you're here for. They're just like, oh, you're here to help us stop the raging Pokemon that's been terrorizing villages and killing people. Okay, I'm gonna battle you first with my 6 Vaporeon and all the Eevees. Like, okay, why? You're not battling to prove anything or get a badge there's no evil team this time around except for like these bandit girls that occasionally pop up and they battle you, but that's it. In this world, there's no reason people should be battling, especially since people don't know what Pokemon are capable of and they don't really live in harmony with them that much. So why are we battling again? I heard Yahtzee make this point in the Escapist review for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I was glad I wasn't the only one who thought battles, when they appeared in the game, were really weird. I actually asked myself, wait, why are we doing this?
There are some battles with other trainers in Arceus, but always with this air of, oh shit, I knew we were forgetting something. They just spring it out of nowhere every now and again, like you get to the next story objective and the anime Thomas the Tank Engine character you're working with goes, wait, I need to assess your battling ability before I can let you pick up the dry cleaning.
Because in normal Pokemon, I'm like, okay, we're battling. You met a trainer, the trainer eyes locked, you battling right now. This is happening. When it happened in Legends Arceus, I was like, wait a minute. I'm just filling out a Pokédex. Why? Why are we battling? Why are we fighting? And it just felt weird. And of course, I think this makes sense for this game, but I'm not a fan of the standard JRPG turn order thing that you normally see in like Bravely Default or Dragon Quest or probably some other game, where the speed determines how many actions you can do. A fast Pokemon can use the agile style and maybe take a second turn, whereas a slow Pokemon will just make it so that they don't get attacked 2 turns in a row. And throughout the game, I just wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like being hit by Hyper Beam twice in a row by a Alpha Torterra, and this just happened in general, where you think you have a chance to act, and you send the Pokemon in once they faint, and they act before you can even like use your priority moves, which don't exist anymore. Like Aqua Jet isn't a priority move, Bullet Punch is not a priority move. Like there's no such thing as a priority move. It's all about agile, strong style. There's no such thing as like protecting yourself. You can't do anything preemptively. You just keep taking the shit until you get a chance to do something. That sets Pokemon back, because that used to be a problem before Gen 4. The turn order was different. So let's say you send out a Pokemon and they're like poisoned or burned or whatever. they die while someone's using Outrage, the turn won't end after they faint. Once they faint, you have to send somebody else back in so they can get hit by the next Outrage. It's like, this isn't fair. This is just anti the strategy of Pokemon, and I kind of hate it. I wouldn't want this to carry over to a mainline game. It's fine for Legends Arceus. I'll deal with it. I don't care. I usually don't have to worry about this because it's not the main game, but Game Freak is hurting a lot of stuff, and this is not one of those things I want to see carry over. And Alpha Pokemon are kind of interesting. I thought they had better stats, but they actually don't. They're mostly about encountering boss like Pokemon on the field and adding a sense of danger to trying to catch stuff, and oh no, there's a big version of the thing chasing me. Ah, shit. And then when you have one, it's mostly just about the novelty of having a big mommy milker Pokemon that you can just surround yourself with and take pictures with and think about in the tub. Another thing with them is, like, when you're using a Pokemon you found while doing like reconnaissance or research or whatever, they become a part of your team and you get like attached to them, right? And then you're walking around, you just see the alpha version of that. I was like, well, I'll just get rid of you and replace it with the alpha. I was like, well, I don't like that feeling at all because I don't like replacing guys and getting jaded to the idea of having a team. Everything just kind of is easily replaced in this game, and it's weird. Another thing is some alpha Pokemon's size I feel like should be the regular size, because Steelix alpha looks like how Steelix should look like. I can't imagine. I've never even seen a small one. I've seen the alpha one, and I've evolved an Onix, an alpha Onix, and I've only seen the big Steelix. I can't imagine them looking small. And then you walking around in the first area, you see the alpha Snorlax. He looks like that should be the regular size Snorlax. And then I saw a regular one. I was like, that thing is freaking tiny. Like, you're telling me this thing blocked the path on Cycling Road and Fire Red and Leaf Green? You could just step over this thing. Are you kidding me? Some of these sizes don't make any sense. Like, no. And I forgot to mention this while filming the Pokédex, but speaking of feeling jaded with Pokemon on your team, eventually I'm trying to complete the Pokédex, right? And I'm just rotating my team out way too fast. Like, no, I'm not getting attached to anything. I'm literally just catching a Pokemon, making it use Water Gun twice. Like, okay, you're done, you're bad. You're gone. This one you just have to evolve it. Okay. Then you have to watch it use Leaf Blade a few times. Okay, bye. You go through Pokemon like tissues trying to complete this Pokédex, and it's like, that's not what Pokemon was like at all. I don't really like that feeling, to be honest. It also, throughout the game, I was thinking of like trying to have this team of Pokemon at all times. I was like, well, that's not really what they want you to do here. They just want you to have Pokemon on your team, watch them do a few things, and let them go. It's like, well, that's not how I viewed Pokemon. I got, like, when you're playing a normal game, you get like a little attached to this team you're accruing until the end of the game. Or like, I became the champion with these fucking weirdos. And now it's just like, well, there's no goal for you to reach other than filling the Pokédex, so you're just cycling your Pokemon out just to meet like little criterias, and I just don't really like that feeling that this game is establishing within me of like, oh yeah, just go through Pokemon, just watch them use the moves, get them out of here. It doesn't feel quite good. And these are pretty much just my final thoughts of the game. Small spoiler, not really. He's on the fucking cover. His name is on the cover. After you get Arceus, the game is kind of just done. Or maybe because I did all of the side quests, or that was the last thing I had to do in the game was go get Arceus. But the game just kind of ends. I get this because it's a spinoff, but I would hate to feel like this in the next standard Pokemon game if it adopts this like final stuff from it. Because I don't like the feeling of being done with it. It could be that I put a lot of value in a good post game, or maybe just be able to do having stuff to do after the game is quote unquote over. But Legend Arceus doesn't really have that. It delivers on what it's supposed to do, is be a different experience. It's fleeting and then it's over. It reminds me of like Breath of the Wild, where the entirety of the game is built around you prepping to go fight Ganon. At any time you can go to Hyrule Castle and just fuck around, but in this game I actually do appreciate that it makes you do all of this before going to get Arceus. And it could just be that I did everything there was to do in the game. I did all the missions, I did all the quests, I got all the unknown, I got Spiritomb, I filled out the Pokédex, I maxed out the rank, the star rank, and the reward for that isn't even that great. I think you just get like 20 rare candies. Not even like, oh, now you can craft like super balls that just catch everything no matter what. Or I don't know. And I expect the feeling of finality. I don't know if that's even a word, but like when you beat a Zelda game, you see the credits roll. Like there's nothing else for you to do, you know. Or in Metroid, you beat the final boss. The only thing left for you to do is do it again or create a new file. Like, okay. But with Pokemon, there's usually always something you can do once you come back. Like I like being able to complete the decks is cool and all, but I like firing up Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or ORAS again and coming back and building a new team, given like the tools they have, like the daycare, the tutors, or whatever you want. Like you can say what you want about the structure becoming stale over time, but there's always a reason for you to go back in like a traditional Pokemon game. Like, yeah, you don't really get the value of returning to a game format like Legend Arceus or Breath of the Wild for even that matter. I beat Ganon, and then there's still quests I had to do, but it's like, well, what for? I can't. There's no new final boss to work towards. And that game had the luxury of having a DLC with a new kind of boss, not like a final boss kind of quality, but like there was something new to prepare for, and that was cool. Maybe that could be fixed by Legend Arceus either getting a sequel that you can transfer some stuff to, or an update which adds a new quest line or a new like section of the region, the Hisui region, for you to explore or something. I don't know. But if anything, Pokemon definitely needs to keep those like Animal Crossing style daily events to check up on. Like Heart Gold and Soul Silver had like the bug contests on certain days. People call you for outbreaks. I don't remember much else, but like ORAS had the secret base updates, Mirage Islands that would change every day for you to come visit and explore, and there would be Pokemon that you normally wouldn't see in the region. Just like little daily updates to check up on after the game is over is really what would like elongate the gameplay of a Pokemon game. And yeah, like I said, Legends Arceus doesn't have that. And the cool thing about like most traditional Pokemon games is that their connectivity, you could usually almost always take your older game and connect it to a newer game and transfer stuff to the new game and just kind of like move everything over. Here, everything is kind of contained. You literally can't take anything with you from this, even the regional variants, and the ancient variants or the pre-evolution, the new forms they came up with and stuff. Nothing from this is going to carry over, or there's no saying power here, and that feeling kind of sucks. It's kind of like how you can't take any of the Alola variants and bring them over to Sword and Shield, or you can't take any of those Sword and Shield variants and bringing over to another game either. Like that's terrible, man. And I think Legend Arceus, scale wise, is really cool in the presentation. Well, maybe not the graphics, but it's a step in the right direction. It's all very seamless. The way you engage in battle seamlessly, and it's for the environment fluidly. And I kind of just want a game that builds on what previous games introduced. And I'll agree, they do a terrible, Game Freak does a terrible job at keeping features that build up on each other. They keep taking away shit. Like, taking away a mechanic, putting it back, introducing a new one, not keeping the new one, replacing the old one. Like, they are so inconsistent. They can't just make a definitive Pokemon game. If they were to just keep everything that every game has done and take all the good things that every game has done and put them into one game, and then like always strive to make the best game the next time, then I think that would be better for Pokemon, actually. Like, this is a cool spin-off game, but gaming has a lot of bad habits I like to see them break, but at the same time, they don't really need to. They've been making bank as long as... They're going to make bank as long as people keep saying whatever they put out is the best Pokemon game. Like, people keep calling this is the best one. All the other games are shit. The next one should be like this. I still don't agree. I don't get it. It's not a defining Pokemon game where we're talking about what, like, things that make a true feeling Pokemon game, you know, like catching, raising, battling, going through routes, like fighting trainers and leaders, like fighting whoever the bad guys were this time, like accruing a team, and maybe later in the post game building one that you like, a viable one. You get attached to these. You get attached to the Pokemon that you stay in your party for the most of the game. And not just like replacing it with a shiny or alpha like you do in this game, but like it being a turn-based RPG that isn't reflex heavy like an actual ARPG was kind of the draw of Pokemon. It was simple. You know, I'm not saying it has to go back to being top-down square direction, but like this game was proof that, hey, we can do something different. But I just don't see this being the best Pokemon game. One, because all the Pokemon are in it. Two, they still don't follow you. It took a while for Sword and Shield to get the update, and even that was jank. I've seen videos of a lot of moves. A lot of moves and a lot of moves and other aspects of Pokemon's uniqueness are gone, like their abilities. Some of their like stats have been messed up and changed around. And like I said earlier, while it does do a good job reimagining what catching Pokemon must feel like, it doesn't do a good job building on the experience of traditional Pokemon that has been established through all the mainline games, and just straight up becomes Breath of the Wild. Like, you know, just using a crafting mechanic to make stuff. You do quests. In this game, you fight 5 Guardians, and then beating Ganon, who is essentially Arceus at the end. And then the game is just over. Like, I don't like that feeling at all for Pokemon. Like, have stuff for the player to do when the game is over. I'm probably not gonna go turn this back on later, ever. Like, there's no reason to. There's no facility to do. There's no eggs to raise. There's no effort value to train. There's not enough here in this kind of game format. And this is gonna be a really unpopular opinion, but I'm kind of getting sick of open world games and like MMO-ish feeling games. I don't need every game to be like, I can't believe I'm saying this again, Breath of the Wild. You know, a lot of overworlds get homogenized this way. They all have quests and fast travel, and I don't think their replay value is that great. And I've seen this happen a lot lately in the past year or two, where games that weren't even open world now just literally becoming that. Like, Kirby's getting that treatment, Sonic's getting that treatment. Mario Odyssey kind of did that, but it still felt like a Mario game. A lot of the biomes in Mario Odyssey are really diverse and fun to explore. But Phoenix Rising was a shameless clone of it. Pokemon Legends is pretty close to that. And I find it really ironic that Jim Sterling pretty much praised this game for Pokemon getting the Breath of the Wild treatment, even though they gave Breath of the Wild a 7 out of 10, which means they hated it, of course. Just kidding. But knowing Game Freak's track record of releasing games, so usually the cycle is there'll be a new game, there'll be a remake, and then the remake will be in the style of the game that came before it, and then they'll have a new game, and then they'll do a remake again. If it seems like Gen 5 could be remade, then I think they will A, be the most predictable company ever. B, if Gen 5 did look like this and they kept back all the traditional mechanics in there, I would shit myself. And then if they kept Z moves and all the branching evolutions and all the stuff they've been building up, like all the regional variants you get access to and the Mega Pokemon, I would shit myself even harder. Or, if they made another Pokemon Legends game and it was not, instead of being in the past, it was set in the future and you're, I don't know, fighting Necrozma or something, I would be down for that. But no way do any of the stuff I felt from playing this game what I want to carry over into the next mainline game. Please. No. And this whole idea that, like, this game is better just because it breaks the formula isn't really that fair to say, because it's like saying, I don't know, Metal Gear Rising is better than all the Metal Gear games because they break the formula of being a stealth action game, and instead it's just a regular action game. Or Fire Emblem Warriors is better than all the Fire Emblem games because instead of being a strategy game, it's an action game. Like, Pokemon Legends Arceus is better because instead of being the game that Pokemon was, it's completely different now. Like, I don't understand. It's clearly a spin-off game. It's not going to replace mainline Pokemon. I'm sorry. And the worst offense Pokemon Legends Arceus does is that in a game with no abilities, they still found a way to give Regigigas slow start. What the hell?